All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to tonight's NASCAR 08 Nextel Cup Series race at the California Speedway for the running of the Auto Club 250. Our first race here at the California Speedway this season will be just a 50%er here today, just like the Truck and the Busch Series, which already took place yesterday in our doubleheader. We had two races combining for 125 laps, so today we'll have one race for 125 laps. Therefore, it should be a similar length stream. Switching up the race lengths, obviously, for both California races, considering we will still have another one later in the regular season. That race will be a full 100% race, so 500 miles, 250 laps. But 2-mile oval, we'll see if we can try to get a win for the first time at California. Finished 19th in the Truck race and 20th in the Busch Series race. Started at the back with no practice or qualifying. That's going to have to be the case again here today. Just getting off of work a little later these last couple of days. But I'm off for the next 4. So we should be able to get the stream started on time for the rest of the weekend. And as far as the practice and qualifying goes, I should be able to at least practice beforehand as well. So starting at the back, shorter race. Let's try to get into this thing. We do have more laps, obviously, in the Cup race than we did the other two series. Trying to find the right setup still. What I had towards the end of the Truck race after the first pit stop was the best that I had yesterday, and that doesn't matter whether it was the Truck race or the Busch race. The Busch race, it was just pushing tight on entry, center off. It was getting really loose, but then it would free up more and more and more as the tires started to wear out, and I couldn't really even make it a full fuel run without losing control of the car. I had more downforce there than what I did in the Truck race, so it was kind of weird to me that that was the case. So I went with less downforce, kind of similar to what I had for the Truck Series. The difference between this and the Truck Series, I'm starting the race off with a little bit more wedge because that's what I ended up doing to the adjustment side of things when we made the only stop. We should have more than and try to get Kasey Kahne his second win in as many races to start this 2007 season. Green flag is in the air. Matt Kenseth is on the pole for the second consecutive race to start the season, as he did for the Daytona 500 as well. A thriller in the Daytona 500 just 2 races ago for Kasey Kahne getting that win. Already making contact in the first turn on the first lap. Getting up to speed here. The 40 car of David Stremme right there. Ryan Berwick, Waiter, and Billy Kramer. Thanks for tuning in. What's up with the jersey today? Hey, it's sports day at work. My Packers are in the playoffs this weekend, so I got to rep them. That's why I'm wearing the Packers gear. Plus, I'm going to be at a Red Wings game on Sunday, so I'm not going to have the opportunity to wear this. I'm definitely not going to wear a Packers jersey in Detroit to a Red Wings game, so don't think of me as a traitor. I'll probably get booed out of that place if I did that. Dealing with the car being a little too tight again, just like we had in the Busch race yesterday. Jeff Green's out in front of the field. He must have qualified pretty well for him to be up there in the early laps. Kenseth, who was the pole sitter, I believe, still led the opening lap. If he didn't lead that one, he's going to lead lap 2 at least to get his bonus points. We were able to lead 9 laps in the Busch race. I don't like how when I try to back a corner up so I can get it pinned down to the bottom of the track and not have it pushed tight, the car gets super loose. That's when the back ends really start to slide out on us. And the more we have that, especially early in the run, the less likely our tires are going to be of making it a full run. On the brakes, a ton in the middle of 3 and 4. Again, just way too tight, especially in this middle to upper groove. I just cannot figure the handling out at this racetrack. We'll have another crack at it in the Busch and the Cup Series, but I don't think we're going to race another truck race at California. It's weird because the car has more grip, at least in the rear tires when I run the middle to upper line of the racetrack. Got a nice cut center off that time. Going to make a pass on Bobby Labonte in the 43. These guys are slowing down a ton middle of the front stretch. A lot of 2 and 3 wide moves for Kasey Kahne. A lot of contact and around goes Kane and Yaley. I'm amazed at how quick that happened. Car just pushed tight. Rear tires might have slid a little bit before the contact. But just like in the Busch Series race yesterday, going to have an incident. Pushing us to the back of the field. Quite a bit of damage on the 21 as well. I don't know if that's John Wood's 21. I think it's Wood's 21. I don't think it's the 21 of Kenny Schrader. Early yellow. That sucks. Yaley got tore up quite a bit there too. No surprise, he took a couple of big hits. Damage on this 9 car. It is starting to frustrate me a little bit because this is 3 consecutive races at this track that I just do not have a good setup for. I really cannot for the life of me figure this track out to get the mechanical grip needed to try to make good laps and make passes. Like, I think I could keep up with the back of this pack, but I don't want to just ride around at the tail end of the field the whole race. I want to actually make passes so we can put ourselves in the best position necessary to try to get the best finish we possibly can. We're not going to do that by just staying back here. Pit crew was able to repair most of the damage, so that's good. Decent launch on the restart. At least going to get in front of the 43 car before entering turn 1. Might get some debris yellows as well. Labonte taking our line away. Give him a bump draft. Maybe. Never even got to touch him. So tight. Waiter's your nickname? I was wondering why you changed it. Only nickname I really had growing up in middle school when I played football. One of our assistant coaches called me Schneids. It never stuck around, though. It stuck around, like, for that year. And then by the end of the school year, and I came back, you know, through the summer into the next fall, around 7th, 8th grade, it just never stuck. Basically just, obviously, a shortened abbreviation of my last name. I think it sounds cool. Cool enough to the point where my creator wrestler on my old WWE games, the name would be Schneids. That was the name of my wrestler. If I ever had to use my first name, it'd be Keegan Schneids. My nickname is Smelly Tuna? No. I do like tuna, though. Hey, tuna's pretty good. When I was down in Tampa, St. Petersburg last year for the Royal Rumble, actually, one of the seafood restaurants locally that I went to had some fresh tuna on the menu. Yeah, there we go. Blackened tuna. Yeah, this car's not as fast as it was with the damage. That's not a shocker. I'm definitely going to have to take some wedge out of the car when we make our stop. It's so hard. I think I have to find the fine line of how fast can I drive it in on corner entry. Not give up too much time because of how much I would have to get out of the gas in the center of the corner. But if I try to back the corner entry up at all, that's when I end up getting real loose with the rear tires. It's so strange. A lot of smoke in turns 3 and 4. That could have been me from the lap before, actually. Now that I think about it. Maybe it wasn't. It dissipated before we got to, but I could see it off in the distance. I only played 3 years. I didn't play going into high school. I played basketball in high school. Basketball and then golf my senior year. I'm really hoping I'm not going to be this bad when we go to other intermediate tracks. Handling-wise was so perfect at Daytona. Never really had to touch the car from practice to qualifying into the race. Maybe could have adjusted it for qualifying so I could have qualified a little bit better in all 3 series. Giving up so much on corner entry. Granted, in a 75-lap race yesterday at Auto Club, or California Speedway still at this time period, in 2007 it was named. We did have 4 cautions, and I only caused 1 of them. So maybe we'll get some AI-related yellows here in our Cup race at California Speedway. That could give us a chance. I think, excuse me, I had a hiccup there right in the middle of my sentence. As far as everybody that has lost the lead draft, it's probably drivers who had damage from the incident. So we're definitely all dealing with the same issues. Jackson Robinson, thanks for tuning in. Well, we're keeping up with 1 car. Slow down so much to make the turn. I think even if we pass him, I don't think I'm going to be able to pull away from him. An ex-WWE star that should be brought back. The question, are we talking like dead, bring them back to life, or are we talking just no longer wrestling? Bring them out of retirement. I think one that universally a lot of wrestling fans would appreciate if we could have had Eddie Guerrero just a little bit longer. Even if he was still around to this day, too. I mean, he'd be around 60. Not saying he would be wrestling anymore, but... I mean, he was in his late 30s There's a lot of guys, especially nowadays, that go well into their 40s. I mean, he could have had another 10 plus years left in him. Just no longer wrestling. Man, I don't know. Triple H. Oh, yeah, Triple H for sure. I know he's around still. He's my personal favorite, so it's definitely a... That one's not as much for the people as the Eddie Guerrero answer, but... He was always my guy, and I never got a chance to watch him wrestle in person, so... Kind of stinks by the time I started going to shows. He was a part-timer, and I never went to the big pay-per-views at that point in time. Like I have for the last couple of years, going to the last couple... After that heart issue we ended up having a couple of years ago. What happened to me? We got in an early wreck. Very, very early wreck. Definitely going to have to make sure I practice and qualify before Vegas. And the only cars we're able to keep up with are other damaged cars. Cosmetically, it really doesn't look like we have a lot of damage. You have to trust me that there was quite a bit. I mean, we had 6.5 seconds of damage, and it really didn't feel like I hit hard. I'm surprised at how easy the car really crinkled up. Both ends of it, too, the back and the front. All sorts of bashed in. But between yesterday and today, California, I would love to forget about this. A very forgettable race. I think the chase is going to keep us in more of a shot to win the Cup title than the other two titles. Again, the struggle at this racetrack in particular is me trying to figure out a new game that I've never played before. Because it really is way different from NASCAR 07. As far as the drivability of your own car, especially here. The only thing that I can logically think of for the truck series and why I ended up having maybe a slightly better car there than what I did in both the Busch and the Cup series, I'm thinking, well, one, equipment. Equipment is definitely better overall compared to the rest of the field in the truck series with Mike Skinner. With Casey Kane, B+ for the Busch series, but the Busch series we still finished 20th, so it wasn't too terrible. Could still never take us out of a shot to win it, though, depending on what the fuel mileage is going to be looking like. I'd imagine it's going to be a pretty straightforward two-stop race. But if we catch a caution at a weird point right at the end of a fuel window, kind of like we did yesterday. Lancelot, thanks for tuning in. Keegan versus the Big Show. Yeah, Prime Big Show would definitely squash me. I like how you asked who would win. Like I actually have to answer that question. Quite a few lead changes like we saw in both the truck and the Busch races yesterday. Last lap pass for the win in both races as well. So if we end up getting into the late going of this Cup race and it's still packed together at the front of the field, could be a thriller up there that we're just unfortunately not in the mix and trying to get that win ourselves. Michael Turner, thanks for tuning in. Yeah, we did get caught up in an early wreck, unfortunately, in the first couple laps of the race. I was afraid of that. We made contact on the opening lap, trying to make a pass on David Stremme on the initial start. We weren't even up to speed yet, and I could tell right from there that the car was too tight in traffic. Tried to make a pass again on either lap 2 or lap 3, whenever it was when we wrecked, and no bueno. Hulk Hogan was your first favorite? Yeah, I got a little bit of Hulk Hogan. For any hardcore wrestling fans out there, my earliest memories of actually watching wrestling, Hogan was around, but that was when he was doing his Mr. America shtick on SmackDown back in the early 2000s. So technically it wasn't like the Hulk Hogan, even though Hulk Hogan was playing that character. And then he was basically part-time after that. Like 2003-ish. Late 2002, early 2003. Honestly, it's a good thing this track is 2 miles in length because we're only 18 seconds off the lead, which is about a half a racetrack. But a half a track back in 30 laps, we can definitely make it into the pit stops without going a lap down. Gives us plenty of time to hope for a caution to get caught back up again. I was really doing my best to try to hold the throttle as early as I could off turn 2. I'm trying everything I can right now. I do feel the tire wear is definitely more enhanced on this game. Not only my tires are wearing out more, I feel like, than what they did in NASCAR 07. But when they do get into the yellow on the tire wear indicator, you can tell a big, big difference. And when they're red like we were at Daytona, and the 500 specifically trying to hold off for the win, is even more ridiculous than the slides they're seeing right now. The slides right now, they look bad, but they don't feel that terrible. They just look more exaggerated in this game, I feel. I'm probably more on the brink of wrecking than what I actually think I am, though. Especially by the looks of it. Golly, man, I just cannot keep the car pinned on the bottom of the track. Trying to use the analog stick more that time. The only problem with it, it helped me turn better on corner entry. Center off, I felt more loose with the analog stick. That's another thing I'm still trying to get used to, even though it's been 5 days now, if you count today, is using this keypad for the steering mechanism. Controller was way easier with the analog stick. For me, that's just because I've used the analog stick since the beginning of time. I first started playing NASCAR games, I only used the analog stick. Even on the PSP version, I used the analog stick. I used it so much, I ended up actually breaking it at one point. It would just basically get stuck in a certain position. Have to unjam it while I'm on the straightaway and then use it again by the time I get into the next turn. It wouldn't jam up on me all the time, but there were a select few times I can definitely remember that being the case. Fastest lap, 38.333. Now it's really starting to hydroplane on us. This is getting ridiculous. The car is just so shovey tight. And then as the tires start to wear out more and more and they get into the yellow on the tire wear indicator, it starts to get wrecking loose. But then it shoves like that. And that's why I can't figure out what to do setup-wise. Because, like, do I loosen it up or do I tighten it up? I can't tighten it up. I can tell you that right now. Because if I tighten it up, I'm not going to be able to turn at all. And I'm going to be mowing the wall down every single lap, every corner. I'm already almost doing that. I haven't done it as much because I am trying to keep control of the car as much as I can and lift and use more braking. But then when I lift early, it just slides like that. It's ridiculous. I can see why people don't like this game. I'm definitely seeing it. That was a late block. Is that Paul Menard? No, it's J.J. Yaley. I'm colorblind, okay, so give me a break. It looked like Menard to me at first. Kyle Petty's been out of the race for a little bit. I forgot to mention that earlier. So that's why we're in 41st after passing just one car, which would have been John Wood, who we've got behind the running order. NCAA March Madness, thanks for tuning in. That was the first time I got loose off the exit of the corner. Except for the one corner I used the analog stick for. Such a long drift. Mike Wallace is in second. Are we just going to have underdogs at the front of the field in every race? Not just Daytona? Jeff Green's up there in the top 5. Clint Boyer's leading again. He just passed Dale Jr. off turn 4. Now Jimmy Johnson's leading. We need new tires in the worst way. Man, can we please get a caution? Please. I'm going to promise to myself I'm not going to complain about the car's ill handling the rest of the race. It was broken at the start. The damage definitely didn't help matters, but it's another start of the race where the setup I had in it going in was not good at all. What's really stupid is I'm not actually spinning out. I'm literally dirt tracking it. Right, left, right, left, right, left. I'm dirt tracking it at Fontana. And I'm only able to do this because there's nobody around me. There will be people around me at some point. I know what you're all thinking at home. Why doesn't he just pit? Honestly, 42 to 43 laps could be the window to evenly make it on 2 stops. We can go about 50. I'll go one more. We'll pit the following lap. If I had time to practice, I definitely would have. That was definitely the plan, was to practice before the race. Honestly, it was going to take so much practice for me. Coming in. I wasn't speeding. It's a pretty solid pit road entry. I'm just going to take all the wedge out of it. Take a round and a half out of it and see what it does now. So glad that's over. Got other cars pitting with us, thinking the same thing, evenly make this thing on 2 stops. A lot of damage still to repair, 21.8 second stop. That was definitely a slow one. I'd imagine the field is probably going to get more broken apart. Really hoping the car's not going to be too loose on the short run, but it probably will be. Wood coming into the pits. Race leaders are coming in as well. Elliott Sadler was the leader. You know, fast that car just passed us. Whoa! Tony Stewart, why was I going so slow? I don't know why Paul Menard passed us so fast. And then Tony Stewart, look at this. The speed difference. There was nothing I could have done there. That was a nasty hit into the wall, too. If I would have gotten clobbered by oncoming traffic, I don't think I would have seen the end of it. I mean, the car was destroyed before. Now I'm a lap down. Because we did cycle all the way through pit stops. Why was I so slow, though? That's what I want to know. Why were they going so much faster than me? I'm taking fuel and tires. I don't care anymore. Tim Irvin, a.k.a. Super B-Man 1, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for the $9.99 super chat. The King Dog, Happy New Year, brother. I'm a little late. It's the biggest thing you could say. You're looking forward to this NASCAR season. I'm looking forward to getting back to more races, that's for sure. Definitely want to get back to the track. I missed only getting to 1 race last year. As far as other stuff I'm looking forward to, obviously getting back to the live commentary streams. I really like doing that, obviously. Every weekend sharing the ability to watch the race and bring you the race on the channel. We'll have that all season for Truck Xfinity and Cup races. Maybe getting the opportunity to see a couple of you guys at some of the tracks I'm going to hit up next year at some point as well. I've met a few of you. We're about to wreck again. I am wondering why I'm scored in 24th. There's a lot of drivers that are scored as 2 laps down when they probably shouldn't be. Caution's out. Not sure who it's for. I think it was debris off the 20 of Stewart's car. Front bumper might have popped off. Mythic Gamer, thanks for tuning in. Yeah, that's right. Penn State Notre Dame going to be kicking off tonight. This version of NASCAR 08, if you wreck, you actually say you wrecked your car. I mean, it makes sense. I didn't bring out that caution. So I can't pit for fuel and tires here. We'll take advantage of it. It's not really going to do much for us. We're still going to have to pit one more time. As will the rest of the field. Tough scenes. This is embarrassing. Yeah, it is. I definitely like to be more competitive. I'm not as upset about it. You know, I hate wrecking when I'm over driving the car. That's not the case today. I'm wrecking because I just can't drive it. It's not drivable. For anybody, not just me. I'd like to bet that if any of you watching had the same shitbox of a race car, be doing the same thing. There's literally nothing I can do. I'm scared to come back to California again next time, and I'm also scared not only to come back to the California Speedway, but what are the rest of these intermediate tracks going to look like on this game? Is it going to be more of the same? Finding the right balance is going to be so hard because we're super pushing tight in traffic one time, and then if I take wedge out of it, I'm too loose. It's got to be something that we can adjust on the pre-race side of things that can help and not only rely on super speedways for wins. Because if that's going to be the case, it's going to be a long season. And it's going to be a very, very difficult championship to win if that is the case as well. See, taking that wedge out of it, it's already super loose. We're not even halfway yet. I'm so glad this isn't 500 miles just for the sake of how bad this race car is. What I really don't understand is why I'm keeping up with the middle of the pack right now. Well, I guess I do have fresher tires because I just pitted during that last caution. But even then, I only have a few lap fresher tires. It's not by much. Oh, a little contact again. I'm surprised I didn't wreck. I'm honestly surprised. That was a bad point to make contact with Ricky Rudd. Well, good luck to your Eagles this week. They're definitely the favorites. Maybe we can take down an NFC East division champion 2 years in a row. The wild card round. I'm also finding it kind of odd that I can power slide like that and keep it. I heard it. That was a big old crunch. Yeah, it'll definitely be a close game. Packers have only lost one game by more than one score this year, and that was the first loss to the Lions in that rainy game in Lambeau. We lose to good teams, but we lose in close games. So I don't think we're going to get blown out of the water by any means, but yeah, Eagles definitely should be the favorite. Hate this car with a passion. I also hate the fact that I can't use the analog stick in this game. I think I was so good and acclimated to it fairly quickly at Daytona because it's Daytona. Now that I'm on a track where I have to use a little bit of brake, a little bit of off throttle time, it's way harder for me. This is how I remember it being. Eagles are 5-point favorites. Yeah, I could see that. Setting that can change what? What exactly are you talking about? 19 season watching NASCAR? Car set a pre-race screen in all EA games. Oh yeah, no, I know I can adjust the presetting. I did actually. I adjusted it the best I could prior to the start of the race. But I have to mess around with so many things and try to figure out what makes this game. I have to think that there's other people and other NASCAR YouTubers that have played this game and can actually drive a car in a straight line. And I'm struggling to. That was Michael Waltrip there. He can eat it. I got underneath him and he chopped me off. I said, "You're going with me." Big hit for Mikey. Oh, big hit for Casey Mears. Casey Mears didn't deserve that. He was an innocent bystander in that all. We got underneath him, and then he just shoved us. And then I got loose. And when I got hung on his left rear, I just hung it right. We've lost this race by a lot. It's been sloppy. I don't care anymore. Yeah, there's a little bit of a graphic change from 07 to 08. This track makes me miss some of the older EA games already. This is a pain. This is giving me slight NASCAR 21 ignition vibes, I'm not going to lie. That glitch where everybody was going super fast compared to us when we left pit road. I was up to speed at 190 miles an hour, and Tony Stewart hit us from behind like he was going 20 miles per hour quicker than us, which he may have been going that much faster. And it was out of nowhere. I saw him in the rearview mirror, and then all of a sudden he was under our rear tires, basically. I can use the analog stick. Like, I've used it in this race at one point in time. But with this game, and my controller specifically, I can't use the analog stick. When I say I can't, I physically can. But the car is so out of control with it that I'm forced to not use it. Otherwise, I'm going to wreck more often than I already am. I mean, obviously, we've wrecked 3 times in this race already, but I'd be wrecking way more if I was using the analog stick. And I don't know why the car... It turns too much is the problem with the analog stick. Why are they not giving us room? That's starting to frustrate me just as much as my race car. Now I'm actually making competent moves in the pack for once. They just body slam us. We're 4 wide right now. Man, we still got 60 laps to go yet. Tony Stewart might have been checking up that inside line down the back straightaway. They were slowing up quite a bit. Wow, that was not a lot of contact. I'll tell you what. You cannot make contact in this game without getting ridiculously sideways. Even on the straightaway right there. The AI honestly get pretty sideways too. It's not just me. Although that time Dave Blaney seemed to keep his car pretty straight. This is a hornet's nest. I don't like this a bit. We are 3x3, 4 rows deep at Fontana. You would think we're still in the Daytona 500. Finally got down to the bottom of the track. Just enough for it to start pushing tight. We're right back in the middle again. Oh, man. Ten and 2, 10 and 2, 10 and 2. You got to be slow to be fast. So that's what JC was saying too. I just don't understand that. Like, I don't... I'm trying to figure out what I have to do to make passes and stay in front of cars. We're doing it on the restart, but I have slightly fresher tires, so it's kind of not fair, but on equal tires, I'm really trying to figure this out. Patience only and pass inside. Slow in, fast out. I almost have to kind of do opposite of slow in, fast out. Because if I back the corners up, the car gets ridiculously loose on me. And that's probably just the setup I have in it. But that is what it's doing. It's tight if I roll in too quick. But back the corner up, the rear tires slide like crazy. The moments that you see the car really start to slide out on me, it's because I'm getting out of the gas early and trying to let it coast into the corner. I about turned Paul Menard on the front stretch. Sorry, Paul. He's trying to bump draft him, and our bumpers did not align right. I think the damage on the front of mine was the difference there. Oh, it's shoving. It's shoving. I don't like how I just get shot out of a cannon like that. Why? Like, I don't like that I'm passing cars when I do that, but when I drive in a straight line, I'm getting past. Is that what you mean by slow in, slow out? Because that's working. I'm not saving my tires any, but... Whoa! Now I was so much quicker than Joe Nemeth. That was like the same thing that happened to Tony Stewart earlier. Only difference was I was basically Tony Stewart in that instance. He just stopped. Right in the middle of the corner. Now he's pulling away. Oh my gosh. Keep it up there. Keep it up there. Or spam through it. We're almost there. We're almost to the end. Yeah, I mean, honestly, outside of NASCAR 21 Ignition, I don't think I've struggled this badly on the channel before. So glad we won the Daytona 500. How patient do I have to be? Like, how patient is patient? Because I feel like I'm just trying to race. You know, I don't feel like I'm pushing too hard. There's many instances where I have spun out, obviously, in the midst of a race, trying to make a pass, trying to race hard to get to the lead. I don't feel like that's why I'm spinning out right now. I mean, I'm spinning out because the car just handles bad. That was Jeff Burton. I mean, what? That was the same thing Michael Waltrip did earlier. Chopped our nose off. Ay, ay, ay. That was almost identical to Michael Waltrip. It was the same area of the track, too, right in the middle of turns 1 and 2. Everybody's still going to have to pit one more time in this race, us included. Not quite in that final field window. We've had a lot of yellows. And we've been involved in nearly every one. Not exactly all of them, but pretty darn close to it. Don't get on full throttle until you get to the straightaway. Trust me, I know this game. It works. PS2 died in November of 2022. I'll take your word for it. Slow is fast. I just hope the car will handle properly for me to be able to do something like that. Slow is fast. Alright. So weird. I don't like that that's what you have to do to race this game. I can really understand now why people don't like this game, because I never really understood the hate over it from the little bit I'd seen. Now I'm understanding it. Alright. A little bit of bottlenecking going on here. Slow is fast. The car doesn't handle well for me to be able to do that. I tried to take the corner super easy. It's almost like an Indy car where you have to take the corners fast for the car to handle better. Got hit from behind. Actually kind of straightened me out a little bit. Thanks, Kyle. About 43 to go. They got you a Martin Truex Jr. retirement final paint scheme diecast. That's pretty cool. Well, we're 4. I think we're 4 wide on the front stretch. The lap times have to be slower in this game to actually be quick. I think I am getting the hang of it. I understand what you guys are saying now, though. The slow is fast. Now it almost feels too easy. That was a bad block. That was on me. Hung up on J.J. Yaley's front bumper. I just realized I'm on the lead lap. How did that happen? We're not a lap down anymore. No idea we were passing cars for position the whole time, and all of a sudden Casey Kane's up to 12th. It's insane that I gave up on this race already, and now we have a chance. What a difference one pit stop makes. I didn't fix the handling of the car any, but... just have to baby the car through the corners. Ultra baby. Ultra baby it. Lucky dog with the free pass. I caused the caution too, so I should not have gotten the free pass. Yeah, guys like Matt Kenseth 2 laps down who was leading earlier. Good to hear, Patrick. Thanks for tuning in tonight. Looking forward to the Rolex 24. Oh, geez. Looking at the chat at the wrong time there. Yeah, almost racing season, only a couple weeks away from the Rolex 24. Just a reminder, we will be doing live commentary for the entirety of the 24 hours of that race. I will have a community tab post on full details this weekend. I've announced it on the channel already as far as during these live streams for the gaming stuff over the last couple of weeks, but full detailed description will be in the community tab based on that stream and how we're going to break things up and what to expect. As Paul Menard chops Casey Kane's nose off, similar to that of Jeff Burton and Michael Waltrip earlier. And it's in turns 1 and 2 every time when that happens. Can I just not make passes in the middle of the corner on that end of the track? Yeah, I am. First time ever. We'll be doing a Rolex 24 stream, but it will be all 24 hours. I will do my best to try to stay awake all the way throughout. I will probably be more awake, honestly, than what I am for these streams during the week. I feel like I still do a pretty good job of talking and communicating during these streams. Even though I've been up since about 5 o'clock this morning. On my feet all day up until about an hour before the stream. And the off my feet was me in my car for 35 minutes on the drive here, and then me getting the stream ready for the next 25 minutes or so before the actual stream starts. Yeah, I love watching the Rolex 24 every year, but for some reason I just never bothered to stream it on the channel, even though we've done live commentary streams for the last couple of years. And I do live commentary for the Indy 500, couple of ARCA races like during Speed Week in Daytona and Talladega, but for some reason I never really bothered to do the Rolex 24, so I figured, hey, why not try it? And I was like, well, if I'm going to do it, I want to do all of it. I don't want to do just like the first couple hours and the last couple hours. Let's go for broke. It's going to be an experience to stay up for all 24 hours of that thing. I don't expect all of you watching to be able to stay up all 24 hours with me, but for anybody that does, more power to you. That would be the real, I mean, you guys are all obviously fans of the channel, and I appreciate each and every one of you very dearly, but at the same time, if one of you are actually able to stay up the full 24 hours with me, props to you. That's fandom right there. Yep, there's that late dive by Casey Mears. He was actually clear, though, and made the move in time, unlike a few other drivers we had seen throughout the pack up to this point. The race! Oh, that move was just too early. Thought we had Sterling Marlin clear. We did not. It may have taken a miracle to get here, but Casey Kane is in second place here at the California Speedway with right around 30 laps to go. I'm assuming that that's a car, and if it is, that would be a negative. I just bought a new car a year and a half ago, May of last year. Well, not 2024. By last year, I mean 2023. So May of 23. I got my new Mustang. I have no intentions of getting another car until that thing is paid off. So it's going to be a few years yet. I mean, there's no need. I have around 40,000 miles on it. I mean, there's not a whole lot of mileage on it at this point. Going strong, no issues. I'm just going to stay behind Casey Mears. No need to have to pit. Or sorry, to make the pass on him. I saw cars heading pit road. That's why I said the word pit. Yeah, cars are on pit road. We're not going to go this full run before pitting because we saw how the tires were lasted last time. I definitely think I could have a better setup for grip. More cars appear to be pitting this time. I would like to run a little bit further, though. 5 bonus points for Casey Kane as he leads his first lap of the race. Lap 125 to go. Got to keep the tires underneath us as much as possible. We start to lose a little bit too much ground, and that's where we're going to have to make our stop. Casey Mears slowing down a ton. Right in the middle of the corner. Big check up there by Casey Mears. Oh, Dale Jarrett. This car's sliding way too much on me. Yeah, honestly, of that race in particular, I've never watched like the wee morning hours of it. I would wake up 6, 7 o'clock in the morning to catch some of it, but anything like pretty much after 11 o'clock, I've rarely seen of the 24 hours of Daytona. I hope it's not going to be one of those races like a handful of years ago where there was a giant fog or rain delay all the way through the night. That would be tough to sit through. That would definitely make the race a lot longer for me. Trying to stream the whole thing. If we have a major rain delay that takes up like 4 or 5 hours worth of the race, that'd be brutal. These tires are definitely starting to give way quite a bit. Kane's still trying to muscle it out. We have 22 laps to go with where we're at right now. Still looking to hang on to it the best we can. Oh, man, got slammed from behind by Ricky Rudd. That's not going to help us. Don't wreck it. Do not wreck it, Casey. That was all Ricky Rudd there. He just piled right into the back of us. The wall kind of straightened me out a little bit. Look at that squeeze. That probably wasn't smart. I backed out of that. It was a little late, but it still worked out. And because I backed out of it, the car's sliding. That sucks when you try to avoid a dangerous situation, you still almost wreck because the car sucks when you slow down too much in the corners. 20 to go. I think those drivers that are at the very front of the field, they're definitely going to cycle in front of us. We're probably going to be right around this pack when we cycle off of pit road. Which, I mean, considering how I've ran this race so far, I definitely don't deserve to win. So again, we're leading right now, but we're the last driver that still has to pit before this race is over. Got to decide exactly how far we're going to go. Got 19 laps left. Really doing my best to just give us more laps on the back burner. Contact with Nemechek. There might only be 2 more cars that are in front of us. I think Casey Mears is one of them. All right, I'm pitting this time. It's getting too ridiculous to try to hold on to. Don't speed, don't speed. Oh my gosh, we just sped. I did the same thing at Daytona, sped on pit road. I don't think we were going to win, even without speeding. But a 5-second penalty is so costly. This is going to be costly too. It took 12 seconds to change the right side tires. What a slow stop. This is a 22-second stop, and then he got the penalty. There go the leaders. We're still in our box. 29 seconds. You mean to tell me it was a 24-second stop? That is so bad. All right, get up to speed and go. I just want to get a good finish out of this. I wasn't going to win, even with there being no penalty. Maybe we get a caution before the race is up. Still 15 laps to go. Somebody just blew an engine down on the bottom of the track. Looked like Mark Martin in the 01. Martin blows a motor. Put ourselves right in the middle, 3 wide, and then chop the 7 of Robbie Gordon off. Still in 21st. Probably going to finish right about where I did the last couple races. 19th, 20th. Here we are with Casey Cannon, 21st. That last pass we just made was not for position. I just changed tires, so it should not be as loose as it is. Yeah, damage definitely doesn't help either. I do keep leaving that part out a little bit. That was one of the smoothest corners, and it still had a little bit of rear tire slide. 10 laps left here out in the California Speedway. Casey Mears trying to win the second race of the season. This would be his first career win. He ended up winning the 2007 Coca-Cola 600, but that obviously is later in the year. We have not gotten to that race on our schedule. Looking to the inside of Kurt Busch in the 2. And up to 18th. 18th place and right in line behind Kyle Busch in the 5. Home drafting Busch on the back straightaway. Out of the gas early. We'll see if there's anybody we can catch. Got to make sure we're hitting him square. Time's definitely being made up. Top 2 or 3 are well out of reach. But we can get up potentially into the top 10. It's doable. Got to say here, Casey Kane, Kyle Busch, driving well together. Six laps left here at the Auto Club 250, the California Speedway. Catching the group of cars just up ahead of us. Bump drafting Ricky Rudd. Casey Kane pushing Kyle Busch all the way down the front stretch. Even got to get by our teammate Scott Riggs in the 10. I'm just glad he's not getting upset with me bump drafting him. He obviously knows that we're making up a lot of ground doing it, so maybe that's why he's still an ally. At least to me, it looks like the ally indicator. Try not to go 3 wide middle that time. Held it very smooth on entry into the corner. Center off, gets a little loose. Gonna slide by Kyle Busch. Side by side with Jeff Green on the front stretch. So 14th place, just over 10 seconds off the lead. And we've got drivers inside the top 10 that are just in front of us here. Only 4 laps to go in these tires, then it's the end of the race. Just got to get 4 more decent laps out of them. John Woods made his way through the field. Great run for him. Battling for 13th. He was in that early incident along with Casey Kane, so great comeback for him. His teammate also in that 21 up ahead, Kenneth Schrader, putting together another good run. Casey Kane going to let Dale Jr. go on entry into the corner. Try to undercut him. That was going to work in 3 and 4, maybe not in 1 and 2. 2 laps to go this time by. And now push to the back of the 26. And Casey Kane's up inside the top 10. What a struggle the first 2/3 to 3/4 of this race was. But Kane has turned it around. Oh, a lot of contact there, Jimmy Johnson and Paul Menard. We'll try to bump draft with Menard on the front stretch to get by Johnson. Menard got into his left rear. That was before we started bump drafting. That was right in the middle of the corner. Bump drafted with Menard after the fact, though. Let's go into turn 1. Pass made on Blaney for 7th. maybe get another spot or two. Try to gas it up for the home stretch, and that's going to be all she wrote. 6th place for Casey Kane. McMurray barely going to get fifth at the line. I'll take it. What a performance late. It really turned this ship back in the right direction. Casey Mears gets a win at the Auto Club 250 here at the California Speedway. Just look at the list of guys that finished in the top 10. You would think this is a super speedway race based off the finishing order and who was at the front. And the names we see up here. Casey Mears winning. First career win for Mears. Sterling Marlin second. Mike Wallace in third. David Stremme fourth. Jamie McMurray fifth. Casey Kane, 15 laps led, finished 6th. Paul Menard, 13 laps led, finished in 7th. Dave Blaney, 8th. Jimmy Johnson, 9th. Jimmy Johnson was the highest finishing former champion. In 9th place. And then John Wood was 10th. And a lot of these guys did start towards the back. Casey Mears, 24th. Mid-pack, 42nd for David Stremme. Jamie McMurray was 32nd. At least it was a Roush car in the top 5. Equipment-wise, 39th for John Wood. Early wreck, along with Casey Kane. Dale Jr. led 19 laps today. Not sure who exactly led the most. Haven't seen it yet. .21. So Casey Mears did actually get a max points day then. He only led 21 of 25 laps. Or sorry, 125, not 21 or 25. 21 of 125 laps, but he did lead the most. So we were only 6 laps off of leading the most in this race, believe it or not. Yeah, good finish. I want to thank the chat, by the way, for not only bearing through the ugliness of the first half of this race before I started to get the hang of it, but also thank you for trying to at least teach me what the slow is fast, because I was getting told that at Daytona yesterday. I didn't know what that meant. I should say yesterday at Auto Club. Before at Daytona, I was told that too, but we still ended up winning across the board, so it didn't really matter on the super speedways, but it looks like what we're going to have to do on the intermediate tracks. And it sucks that I have to race like that, but at least it makes the car go faster in a way. So now I can know that I can get away with better downforce in the car, knowing that slow is fast, and we could still make passes. So when we go to Vegas in the next Cup race, I can put more downforce in it so I'm not sliding around as crazy like I was, even with having to lift early, because there definitely was not enough downforce in it tonight. I'll take a 6th place finish. It was looking like I was going to finish 40th or worse there for a long time. Margin of victory was a 2.5 seconds for Casey Mears. A lot of those laps he led was actually in the back half of the race, but kudos to where kudos is due. Casey Mears gets a win. Casey Kane won the 500, so 2 different winners, first 2 races. 53 lead changes in a 125-lap race here in Fontana. 6 cautions, 122.9 mile per hour average race speed. 2 hours, 2 minutes, 2 seconds. And honestly, it felt like we had more than 6 yellows with how loose I was the whole race. But honestly, wasn't bad. And honestly, I was actually really tight in the first half of the race. After I made the adjustments, then I was loose. I was tight, grew into loose on the first run. Pretty much all loose the rest of the runs after that. And as mentioned already, not only by myself, but people in the chat, damage definitely did not help anything there either. So we'll take a look at the point standings before we get out of here. I would like to think we're going to be up towards the top, if not in the points lead, with a 1st and 6th place finish, because a lot of the drivers who ran up towards the front of the Daytona 500 did not get a great finish. 167 laps. I'm scared for how long these 500-mile races are going to be in the Cup Series, and really the Cup races in general, knowing what we have to do to go quick. Kane is still the points leader. Casey Mears is up to 2nd with the win for himself here today. 70 points over 3rd. And obviously, again, the top 12 make the chase. Our teammates are in trouble, though. Scott Riggs is 34th in points. Elliott Sadler is 21st. Like to get our teammates up into the chase if possible, but I don't think we're going to have much say in that. A wild card race here, wild card winner. Congrats to Casey Mears. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. That's going to wrap up our stream here today. We will be back at 6 p.m. Eastern Time tomorrow. I believe our next race is actually going to be at the Old Spice Speedway for the Busch Series. In order to get all 3 series to be running at Las Vegas next, they do have a non-Cup date, I guess, if that makes sense. A standalone event. There we go. That's the better wording for it. So standalone event for race number 3. I think it's Boulder Speedway is what it's titled in this game, but it's the Old Spice Speedway. But for some reason, they named it Boulder. So that tells me that Old Spice did not renew their contract with EA Sports. So that is why they're not going to be here. I wonder if that means there's no Old Spice car with the fantasy drivers, too. Could be. Could be. Thanks for everybody tuning in. Be sure to hit the like button again if you haven't done so yet. Subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. See you guys tomorrow night. Back and better than ever. And hopefully, we maybe figured this game out just a little bit more. It's still a learning experience. It will be all the way throughout the season as we go to each track for the first time. And then maybe for Season 2, we'll get a better run at it. Hopefully, we win the championship all the way around for all 3 series as well. Starting to fall behind a little bit in the Busch and the Truck Series after the performances of 19th and 20th place finishes yesterday in our doubleheader. So looking to get back to business. See you tomorrow, everybody. Boulder Raceway Park. NASCAR 08 as I rip my earpiece out right at the finish.